Autism Mondays. Autism Mondays. Right, so what I'm going to do today, Autism Mondays, right, so what I'm going to speak about, right, so the reason I'm going to do this video, my close pal Ryan, him and Sammy had their little boy today called Oliver, so congrats to you guys. But I just thought, that'd be a good idea for me to sit there and go, right, let's speak about Mr. Autistic, right, Mr. Anxious, what it's actually like having a baby. Right? I wasn't like a woman in a past life, I'm not looking shot at burns. 5 things that's difficult for an autistic person to deal with during pregnancy. Number 1, waiting. Nobody told me there'd be so much waiting. They never told us that when your wife got induced, you could be 3-4 days. I just thought it was like, all right, okay, you're getting induced. I thought I was walking out with the burn that day. I'd say 3-4 days. I'd say 3-4 days. But Laura was in that hospital for. It was torture. Still waiting. And the problem with waiting when you have autism is you have ADD or ADHD like me, where you get bored. You can't just go away for a wander. You've got to stick with the missus. We played Uno, got tired of that, got tired of speaking to each other, looking at each other, and you get to the point where obviously you're in these booths. You just end up speaking shit about the people that are beside you, because you can't see them. Me and my wife's going like, ooh, wonder what he looks like. Oh, he sounds like he's well punching, eh? Look at punching. And even still, right, you get to the point when you get induced, and it's like, 10 centimetres dilated, and you go, great, the bairn's coming. Or wait to break your wife's waters, okay? I'm like, great. I think it's like the films, it's like, woof, let's go fly a kite. It's like, woof, Niagara Falls. You know what they never do? They actually never go, see when we break your wife's waters, we're going to have this thing that's that size. Nobody tells you that. The thing was massive. I took a photo of it and put it on Facebook. I'm making it work for Laura. I'm like, fuck, babe, I still go inside you. She's like, did I say that? I'm like, I've got it in the air. I'm trying to fucking measure it, and it's like a trickle. It's no, I think it's like, woof. It's like, no, it's like, oh, so that's going to trickle, okay? And then what we're going to do is, so that's your water's broke, then it's just going to be a case of waiting for the baby to come, okay? And you're sat in the room, waiting, again. So I'm like, no, so even worse, I've had to wait 3-4 days on the bairn coming. And then the bairn's still no coming. You broke my wife's fucking waters, you've scarred her, fucking stabbed her, fucking some big long plastic thing, right? She's trickling. I'm like fucking booting. I'm going through checking drawers. I'm just like fucking bored. I'm like, right, touching shit, pressing buttons. I'm like fucking going in other people's rooms to have a nosy because I'm bored. And it's like, the waiting's excruciating. Right, so you go through all the waiting, right? You're like, all the waiting. Number 2, what's really difficult for an autistic man whilst their wife's giving birth is the midwife. My midwife, right, she was proper old school. You think of midwives are like, oh hiya, so you're having a baby, that's lovely, so what we'll do is we'll just stick it on for another 30 minutes, then pop, out that baby's gonna come, okay? It's not like that, right? Midwife comes in and she's like, right, okay, so we're here, we're there, Sandra, I need you to do this, do that, and she, as soon as the clock eyes on you, it's like, oh great, father. It's Dundee. Oh, we've got a father. Oh, are you actually the father? Oh, your brother. Honestly, the last 5 people that came in here, oh my god, single mums galore. And I'm sitting there going, oh no, I'm going to say some shit she's not going to like. What they don't tell you is the midwife just gives you random instructions to try and get you involved. Right, okay, Paul. So what I need you to do, I need you to rub your wife's back. Alright, okay. Paul, you're not tickling her. What? It's like, right, Paul, right, think about like having a fist. But I never asked you to punch your wife, Paul. I'm like, what? Ken, why would I ask you to do that? Fucking force the bairn out. No, Paul. Like, I told you to rub your wife's back. I fucking rubbed it. No, it's like, then you tell me a puncher. I didn't tell you a puncher. Like a fist, Paul, right? Like a fist, right? Then I need you to almost like knead, right? Just like you're kneading right into her back. All right, okay. Up and down. If you're gonna tell us to go up and down, I'm like, right, up and down. Laura's like, oh, that's so good. I'm like, fucking great. Okay, more boring shit for us to do, right? So obviously she's giving me random instructions, and it was like that the whole time. She got to a point, right, where she's like, right, Paul, she's trying to coach me, right? They didn't tell you that the midwife's going to try and coach you. It's kind of like half time. It's like, right, okay, Paul, right? Okay, so obviously it's been quite a difficult first half, right? Okay, obviously we're getting beat, we're kind of struggling. We need to get to the final whistle, Paul, okay? So what we're going to do, I'm going to get you up front, Paul, and I need you to be that captain, okay? I need you to motivate all the team, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to get to the final whistle, we're going to score a last minute goal, and then you are going to be the saviour, Paul. You are going to be that guy, okay? Believe in Linda. I don't know if her name was Linda, but we'll call her Linda. Believe in Linda, right? Me and you against the world, Paul, okay? Okay? And she's trying to coach me, right? So she sits there to me, right? And she goes, okay, Paul, so what I need you to do is, this is going to be really hard, Paul, because this is the pushing part, right? You need to be very vocal, okay? Okay, so what I need you to do is, I just need you to give Laura encouragement when she's pushing, because she's not going to want to push. Right, okay. Can you do that for me, Paul? Yes. I could do that. Right? I'm like, good. I can shout. I'm good at shouting, right? What did I do? Come on, babe, push, babe, come on, push. Stops me when Laura's mid-push and goes, Paul, this is not a fucking football match. I'm like, fucking swear it. Start swearing it. Paul, this is not a fucking football match, right? I told you to give your wife encouragement. Fucking tell us to fucking egg her on. Not shouting at her. So it gets to the point where obviously, like, I'm deflated and I'm just like a school child. I'm like, come on, babe. Push. Oh, you can do it, babe. Push. A little bit more encouragement. Paul, you can do it, babe. Push. Pop. Nah, fuck this, whatever. Fucking booting tables. Fucking felt like walking it. You have to do whatever they're asking you to do. At that moment, they're like the Prime Minister, right? It's like, this is life or death. I'm in charge of you. There's your balls. I've got them in my pocket, right? Fucking shut up and do what I tell you, right? So midwives are a fucking nightmare for autistic people, right? Especially Aspergers, right? So then, number 3, right? What's really, really annoying about having a baby? Annoying. Fucking was annoying, right? It really is, right? How annoying is it having bairns, right? So, number 3 is actually when the baby's coming, right? So, waited, you then got an arsehole midwife, right? Shouting things at you, right? And then, it's the thing was like, number 3 is when the baby's coming, right? Now, the problem that we had, Madison was struggling to get out. So it got to a point where the crash team came in, and then at that moment, it's like, shit. You as the dad, you're thinking like, right, fucking, I've got the scrubs on. I'm like, right, let's do it, Doc. Me and you against the world. Let's fucking do it. No. What they don't tell you is, see if the crash team comes in, right, they want you as far away as possible. Came across to me, she's like, right, Paul, I need you, like, the crash team's coming in. Paul, I can't explain right now what's going on, right? I can't explain. I'm like, what the fucking, calm down, Linda. Can't explain. Right, serious, Polly. Serious hat on. I need you to stay still. Fucking hell. The crash team were in, 18 it felt like 25 people were in the room, right? And the doctor's like, woof, big massive forceps. It's like, oh, Laura, this is, we're going to be okay. Laura's looking at me. I'm like, oh fuck. That moment, I couldn't keep still, so I kept on trying to stand up to her, peeking. One moment, she's like, Paul, I need you to fucking sit down. I'm like, oh fuck. Right, okay, right, Linda, I'm gonna fucking mean you're gonna have fun out here. You've already fallen out. Okay, sit back down, right? So fuck Linda, right? So when the crash team comes in, you can't do nothing, right? You've just got to let them do their job. You can't even stand up for a peek, honestly. You've got to sit in your chair like you're back at school, right? So, baby comes, right? So what could be difficult is what, again, nobody tells you, is how it's going to feel for you when the baby comes out. So again, we weren't expecting a crash team. We weren't fucking briefed on this, right? Mr. Autistic wasn't briefed. So, the baby comes, and then all of a sudden it's like, Mummy's tired, Linda's got the baby, fucking the bairn she never had. Oh, I would steal you if I could. So I'm like, right, oh fucking Linda, he's the bairn, right? So at that moment, right, I'm like, whoa, I'm not ready for this. At that moment, it's just like, shit. Now, what's the first thing that I said when my beautiful daughter Madison came out? I turned around and said, oh, fuck, she's ginger. She was just all the blood in her hair, made her hair look orange. Laura's face was like, she was crying. She's like, oh, but at the same time knackered, the drugs have worn, and she just wanted to, fuck, this is a burn. Okay, whatever, right? Okay, I'm done. Let's go fly a kite, right? So Linda's got the baby, and obviously they say skin to skin contact, right? But at that moment, I'm like, whoa, I've shot myself, right? I've shot myself. So I'm like, whoa. Fucking give that burn to Laura, right? Put it in a crib or something, right? And I'll come see the baby when I'm ready. Midwives are not like that, right? Linda decided it'd be a good point to go, well, no, Paul, you need to hold the baby, Paul. You need to hold the baby. I'm like, fucking don't want to hold the baby, right? Fucking hell, right? Oh, covered in blood and nothing, right? I don't like being wet. Like, and then, right, so not only that, you're forced to hold your baby. So if you're not ready to hold your baby and you're freaking out, the midwife's just going to go, Mum's tired. I've got other people to attend to. There's your baby. There you go. So not only did I have to hold my baby and I wasn't comfortable, she then told us skin to skin contact. Fucking had to get my top off, right? So not only did I feel uncomfortable, I then had to get my fucking top off, right? So my fucking nipples are out. I'm like fucking panicking. She's like, first time I held my bear, and she's like, oh, isn't that beautiful, girls? Oh, and that moment I'm flapping, I'm like, fuck, I've got my top off her. And I'm like, fucking trying to breastfeed her. I'm like, fuck this, I'm not going to get fucking much out of these, Linda, am I? Fucking, latch. I'm like, fuck, so I'm just sitting there with this baby, right? And that's the thing when you're autistic. You just don't know. All of a sudden, you've went through 3-4 days of waiting, fucking traumatic as it is, having the baby, right? Being shouted at for fucking 4 hours, and then all of a sudden you've got this baby in your arms and you don't know what to do. You're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Nobody tells you what to do when the baby comes, right? So you've got 1, which is waiting, 2, midwife, 3, actually having the baby and having to like know what to do. Because obviously the mum's tired and they don't tell you that. They just, normally guys just think, fucking great, fucking mum has the burn, right? See you later, I'm gonna wet the bairn's head. That didn't happen, right? So number 4 would be, now the reason I'm doing 5, so you would think, oh, that's you done, Paul. Well, no, because the first one was a natural birth and the second one was a C-section, right? So I'm autistic, but I've been through it all, right? So number 4, C-section. So what is a nightmare about having a C-section? Is what they don't tell you is when they're having a C-section is that the room is fucking immaculate. So 4 C-sections, right? The room is like, I swear to God, it's the whitest thing. It's like, fucking hell, man. I'm so, at that moment, I'm just like wanting to touch everything. It's like, no, pop. And it's like a laboratory experiment. It's just kind of like, nobody speaks to you. It's like, right, Paul, just sit in this room whilst you're waiting, okay. Okay. Are we ready, doctor? Are we ready, doctor? Are we ready? Doctor's ready, right? Okay, and you come in and it's all of a sudden it's a completely different scenario. Again, nobody tells you. So it's like a screen, right? So a screen goes up like that. So at that moment, I've went from like fucking, like in the first birth, like seeing everything, like holy shit, fucking Groundhog Day, man. And then all of a sudden, like fucking 8 people looking at your wife's fifth, kind of just like, what do I think about that, Sandra? No, oh no. Yeah, she's definitely having a burn. Fuck, did we employ her for, man? Right, so, and it's just, it's immaculate, so I was afraid to touch anything, right? And then obviously it's a thing where, like, there's these social cues when you're having a C-section, where it's like, you're only allowed to peek around the curtain when they tell you you're allowed to peek, right? So it's like, not even a curtain, it's just fucking, like this, it's just strange, just like a wee miniature curtain that comes around. It's just like, it's the only time Sandra's ever used, like, oh, there's a wee screen and a wee curtain for you, right? And what it is, you don't even know you're having the baby. They don't tell you. It's just kind of like, right, okay, yeah, what do you think about that, Jim? Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, that looks like a burn to me. Yeah, oh, that's a burn. Like, and then it's just all of a sudden it's like, loads of squelchy noises, and then it's like burns out, right? I'm like, holy shit, burns out. It's amazing, right? She's like, fucking Laura's like, what's going on? But what the burn? It's like, I can't see, fucking curtain, right? They must have done something, or they weren't sure, right? So there was miscommunication. So one doctor went, alright, okay, Mr. Third, do you want to come have a peek, right? So I stood up to have a peek. Another doctor went, fuck, whoa, what you doing? I'm like, what? He's like, oh, sorry, Dave. Oh, no, so I thought we were right. I still got to cut the umbilical cord here. I'm like, fuck, am I standing up or am I sitting down? And it's this thing again where it's like, they're in control of you, and it's like, you don't know what to do. Then they just like wheel your wife off. It's just like, there's the baby, right? Have a lovely day. Sandra's like, oh, give him the curtain, like, oh, Peekaboo. So we've done 4, right? So number 5, right? What's the 5 things that could be difficult for somebody with ASD when you're having a baby? Number 5 has to be the bonding of the child, right? So it took me 3-4 months to bond with Madsen. So at first I thought my daughter was ginger, so I was fucking raging at that. It's like, oh fucking no, I've gave her the curse, bastard, right? So I'm like, oh no, she doesn't. And then it's the whole thing where it's like, what do I do now? How am I meant to feel? And it's really, really difficult, right? So again, all the other stuff's quite funny, but number 5 is the hardest, right? So with Genevieve it was a little bit different. I'd been through it before, I had a bit more of a quicker bond. But I think with Madsen it was just change, and I just wasn't ready for it. And I just struggled to bond. I remember just pushing it. I remember she was in her wee, like a wee fucking incubator. That's what it looked like. It's like she was a wee social experiment. And I'm just like, right, okay. I remember just watching her. And I just watched her for ages, back and forth, back and forth. And then she went to sleep and I was like, yes. And then fucking woke up again crying, and that was the fucking rest of my life. Fucking my bairns just crying all the time. But they don't tell you, again, it's that thing with the wives. They didn't tell you your wife's knocked out. Your wife's, again, it's like, most people think my wife's going to be knackered after that. Me, I'm just like, fuck you, be a mum now. You guys fucking hold the bairn for 9 months and go, that's me done. That's what being a dad is. She's fucking shattered, absolutely shattered. So I had to take the baby and I didn't know what to do. And it's like I didn't know how to change the baby. And I remember I had to ask somebody's help to change the baby's nappy. I was like, I've never changed the baby's nappy before. They didn't tell you how to change the baby's nappies. So it's like, and she just sniggered at us, and it really annoyed us. She was just like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I'm no joking. Like, I need help to fucking change a bairn's nappy. She's done it, like, I didn't care what to do. Nobody tells you how dainty kids are. Fucking hell. For weeks, I thought I was going to fucking break her bones. Kind of just like, honestly, they're just so fragile, and it's like, I remember being so tentative to like fucking change her bum, thinking I'm going to fucking break her leg or something. And again, when they're crying, it's like what nobody tells you when the baby comes is, what do they want? What are they crying for? There's no rule book about like having kids, so it's like, she's crying. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Right, well, she might need burped. What? Do you fucking mean burped? How do I know if she needs burped? She can't tell us. Do you need burped? Nah, but you've just got to try out stuff, Paul. Try out what? Well, she might need her bum changed. She might be sitting awkwardly. She might be sore. She might need an arse. Fucking honestly, fucking felt like being back with fucking Linda again. See with the babies, Kim, you have to like rub their back a certain way. Laura's like, don't hold her that way. Hold her up higher. Fucking hold her up higher. She'd be fucking falling. Like it's like she's like, no, rub her lower back. Rub her up higher. No, pat her back. Fucking parents. Paul, stop hitting the bairn. I'm like, oh, fuck. I didn't hit the bairn. Like, at that point, I thought I fucking smacked her too hard. Fucking her esophagus would fall out. So it's all those like things that people don't tell you. When the baby comes, it's just fucking carnage. And there's all these. Notice there is no rules, but there is rules, and that's what's difficult about it. There is like you do these things to see if the baby's okay, but I'm like sometimes you'll go through all the things and the baby's still crying, and you're like, fuck am I meant to do now? Oh, so I just have to sit with this fucking bairn's greeting it. It's fucking half an hour. Fucking wish. Fucking 5 hours, right? So it is difficult, right? So there you go. There's 5 things that make it a nightmare for autistic dads, i.e. me, right? You might have a kid and you sailed through it. I never sailed through it. Both times. Fucking Mr. Anxious. Said stuff I shouldn't have said. Luckily I never got Linda because it was a C-section. That was good. But yeah, there's loads of stuff that they don't tell you. And there's loads of stuff you can get anxious about. And having kids, it's just a fucking nightmare. There's no rules. Anything can happen. And you've just kind of got to adapt it. So there you go. Congratulations to Ryan and Sammy on having your kid, because it makes me so happy that my kids are older and I don't have to go through fucking babies again. Fucking so happy. So thanks again for watching, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you next Monday.